Here we have some important news as Naughty Dog teases several new games. We also have a PlayStation 5 video that highlights next-gen local multiplayer games, and a GTA Games news as Take-Two Interactive's chief executive reveals that making game remasters was always a part of the company's business strategy, and new rumors suggests that Nintendo reportedly announcing new Switch model later this year. And we have some PlayStation London Studios and Battlefield news to discuss about. So before jumping into the topics, if you are new, subscribe to the channel and click the notification icon for knowing instant updates, more interesting and informative topics in the daily gaming world. Now let's get into the discussion. Naughty Dog is widely regarded as one of the most talented studios in gaming, and with its games raking in so many awards, it is easy to understand why. According to Naughty Dog co-president, writer, and director Neil Druckmann, several new announcements are on the way as well. Naughty Dog's most recent game, The Last of Us 2, has been unanimously praised by critics. While there was controversy tied to the game early on, as leaks and review bombing hurt its reputation, discussion about the game has been growing more positive with every passing month. While the game just released last year, it seems like Naughty Dog has wasted no time working on new projects, though it could be a while until fans hear about them. In a recent post on Twitter, Neil Druckmann discussed that he cannot say anything about future projects when asked about them online. He asks fans to be patient, promising that Naughty Dog will share info as soon as they can. While he gives no insight as to when the announcements will be coming, Druckmann promises that there are several cool things on the way. While comments were filled with jokes about Abby joining the Smash Bros. Roster, or a Lego The Last of Us game, other fans have been wondering what these announcements could be about. One of the announcements Druckmann is referring to is likely a PS5 version of The Last of Us 2, as the next-gen patch has been rumored for quite some time now. More casting information could be coming for the HBO adaptation of The Last of Us as well, as several new actors can be joining Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey on the project. With characters like Tess, Marlene, and Bill still not cast, there are plenty of options for additional reveals. Considering that there are several announcements to come though, it seems possible that at least one of them is tied to a new project of some kind. Fans are long overdue a look at The Last of Us 2's Factions mode, with nothing said about the standalone game for some time now. While it is still in development and will likely deliver a deeper mode than what was seen in the original game, players still know very little about it. Further, the only footage shown of the game thus far has been leaked, meaning that fans have yet to properly see Factions in action. For now, players only know that it will have the same 4v4 format, while also making use of the sequel's engine and improvements to the melee system. With a new Naughty Dog IP possibly being one of the announcements as well, there is plenty to look forward to for fans of the developer. Still, like Neil Druckmann said, being patient for a bit longer is going to be necessary. The Last of Us 2, from developer Naughty Dog, continues to break award records with the announcement of the 2021 BAFTA Award nominees. The divisive game already has the most Game of the Year awards in industry history, and the accolades do not appear to be slowing down. Neil Druckmann, writer and creative director of Uncharted 4 and The Last of Us, knew he was creating a very different sequel than most players were expecting. The narrative decisions were the basis of most fan complaints, but that has not stopped the tide of awards and attention on the highly anticipated sequel. The Last of Us 2 has not won every award, losing some of its nominations to the other games released in 2020. That being said, it is swiftly moving towards becoming one of the most awarded games of all time. The British Academy of Film and Television Arts, or BAFTA, has recently announced its nominees for the top video games in a variety of categories, and The Last of Us 2 is a common trend. From animation and music to 5 separate Best Performer awards, including Troy Baker as Joel, The Last of Us 2 has entered the arena with a record 13 nominations. The previous BAFTA nominations record was 11, held jointly by Control and Death Stranding in 2020. It's also worth noting that The Last of Us 2 has been nominated for the EE Game of the Year award, which is the only category at the British Academy Game Awards that the public can vote in. Before its release, major plot points of The Last of Us 2 were leaked online. The leaks disillusioned some fans from the game, because of the apparent character and story choices the creators took. The frustration was added to when the game released, and the leaks had been correct. While many reviewers argued that the context of the story helped the narrative remain strong, the damage had already been done for some fans. While critically acclaimed, The Last of Us 2 was subjected to a massive review bombing on Metacritic. Video gamers everywhere remain divided on The Last of Us 2, though many that Naughty Dog shook the industry with this historic title. With more award shows to come and an HBO series starring Pedro Pascal in production, The Last of Us as a series remains at the forefront of video game culture. Regardless of their opinion, players can be sure that The Last of Us 2 will continue to be discussed for years to come. Up next we have a PlayStation news for next-gen local multiplayer games, as a new PlayStation 5 trailer showcases the kinds of things that players can expect in terms of controller performance for local multiplayer games. The PS5 has been out for roughly 4 months now, and since then, the console has slowly but surely started to become more commonplace within the gaming community. While getting a hold of a PS5 is still a near impossible task, a significant number of units have already sold and users have certainly been putting their consoles to good use. However, for those who have yet to get their hands on a PS5, Sony has put out a new trailer that conveys the capabilities of local multiplayer. Arguably one of the most impressive features about the PS5 is its controller. The PS5 DualSense controller features adaptive triggers and haptic feedback that developers can program in to make the experience feel more immersive. It's somewhat difficult to explain how the controller works without having the user physically holding it, which is why Sony put out a new trailer that shows how the controller features apply to local multiplayer games. The trailer for next-gen multiplayer games shows off a selection of games, and how they operate in a local multiplayer format, as well as how the PS5 DualSense controller features work for each of these games. In the trailer it shows how, when playing a racing game for instance, one car slams into another car, the controller will vibrate in the area of the controller relative to where the player's car was hit in the game. In addition to racing games, the trailer also shows how the adaptive triggers work in terms of shooting games. When playing a round of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War Zombies, players will actually feel this resistance to the triggers, and when the player pulls the trigger all the way back, it actually simulates what firing a gun could actually feel like. Although, seeing it used as opposed to actually using the controller, are two completely different things. It's also hard to know how these controller settings will be used for certain games, or if they will be used for every game featured on the PS5. For instance, it will be interesting to see how these controller features are used for a game like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart or Crash Bandicoot 4. Having said all this, it's still nice to see that the PS5 does feature local multiplayer and couch co-op support. With online multiplayer becoming more and more streamlined, couch gaming has started to become less commonplace. So, the fact that games like Sackboy: A Big Adventure, games that feature local multiplayer as a major selling point, are releasing on a next-gen platform is encouraging to see for those who long for that era of gaming.
Jewelry, hit 'em like boom, what you gon' do to me? You ain't got speed like me, you ain't fast, you ain't quick, you ain't swift on your feet like me. I got endurance, by that look in your eyes I can tell that you nervous. But you won't ever beat me, and I'll be out so fast that you won't ever meet me. Don't hate it, I'm the greatest, niggas love bro, you should see me out in Vegas. It's no opposition, myself is the only competition. So slam, bam, bam, boom, making it shit, make some bang, boom. Change the game. Now that's how you change the game. Now that's how you change the game.
PlayStation.
Moving forward, we have the GTA news as Take-Two Interactive's chief executive reveals that making game remasters was always a part of the company's business strategy. For years, Grand Theft Auto V has been a profitable game, and continues to be with its re-release for the PS4 and Xbox One console generation. Since the remaster was so profitable, Grand Theft Auto V will be remastered for next-generation consoles as well, releasing this year. However, the decision to release the game yet again goes a little further than that. During the Morgan Stanley conference, Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick was asked about the company's business strategy when it comes to remasters. Zelnick said that remasters were always a part of Take-Two's business strategy, and will continue to be a part of it moving forward. He also stated that Take-Two handles making game remasters differently than the company's competition. Zelnick said that when it comes to remasters, Take-Two goes further than making simple ports for its titles. The company's objective is to make each game remaster take full advantage of the newest gaming hardware. In this case, the technology in the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. Zelnick said the company takes the time it needs to make the game not only as good as it can be, but also as different as it can be for its release on the new technology. Zelnick believes Grand Theft Auto V's next-gen versions will bring a strong experience to players with the third console generation. He said the company improves technology for the remasters, upgrades visuals, and adds performance enhancements. Zelnick also pointed out the company saw success with the remastered Mafia games released last year. Specifically, Mafia Trilogy, which contained HD remasters of both Mafia 2 and Mafia 3 along with the remake of Mafia Definitive Edition to top it all off. Zelnick is confident that Rockstar will continue to deliver this year with Grand Theft Auto V's upcoming remaster. However, players expecting remasters of past Grand Theft Auto games may be disappointed. The subject previously came up during a Q&A session in Take-Two's last earnings call in February. Zelnick replied to the question by saying, "I'm kind of inclined to leave it more as a statement than a question." He went on to say that any update on the release schedule would come from Rockstar Games. He provided a similar answer when asked at the conference for any news on the release of Grand Theft Auto 6. Zelnick said that Rockstar hasn't announced any new titles, and that any announcements for the sequel will come from Rockstar itself. While we may not see Grand Theft Auto 6 anytime soon, so can look forward to getting Grand Theft Auto 5 for next-gen consoles. Another announcement regarding GTA 5 is announced by Rockstar Games. Frequent Grand Theft Auto Online players who tune into the game via PlayStation will no doubt be enjoying the monthly injections of cash bestowed upon them as a bonus for owning a PS Plus subscription. Being a member of the service nets an automatic $1 million for free every time a new month rolls around, meaning players have more cash to spend on apartments, vehicles, clothes, and guns. While March's transactions haven't fluctuated from that formula, there will be a few changes to the bonus cash coming in April, with Rockstar announcing that players should no longer expect the money to hit their accounts automatically. As of April 1st, players will have to manually redeem the additional currency in the PlayStation Store. While that might seem less convenient, Rockstar believes the idea will make for a smoother way to acquire the PS Plus funds, with players no longer having to wait for the automated payment to go through. While the original system could take up to 72 hours to register for some, this new method allows them to redeem their in-game cash within minutes. It means shorter waiting times for players and fewer complications for Rockstar. As for how players will be able to do this, all they'll have to do is visit the PlayStation Store and redeem their cash from the Grand Theft Auto 5 tab. Several other games with monthly PS Plus incentives operate this way, with most of the redeemable bonuses located within the PlayStation Plus section of the digital marketplace. It's a small change to how GTA Online players signed up to the subscription get their bonus money, but one that will ultimately lead to a more reliable experience. The post on Rockstar Games' website reiterates that the monthly transactions will remain available until GTA Online hits PlayStation 5, which is currently slated to launch during the second half of 2021. The upgraded version of the game will allegedly be expanded and enhanced, with the PS5 and Xbox Series X ports marking the third generation of consoles that the exceptionally successful open-world crime game has featured on. It's unsurprising considering the game is still making Rockstar a lot of money, ranking as the third best-selling game in the UK last year despite releasing all the way back in 2013. The sales figures have led Rockstar to continue supporting GTA Online since its original debut, adding new weapons, cars, and events to the game. It even got a significant new update late last year that added a fresh location for players to explore, setting its latest heist on a private island known as Cayo Perico. Grand Theft Auto Online is out now on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, with PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X versions slated for the second half of 2021. Nintendo Switch fans may be excited to hear a new claim. Sources say that the Big N has a big announcement in store for later this year that should excite Switch players who want more from their systems. The Switch just hit its 4th anniversary this month, having been released on March 4, 2017, so Nintendo Switch has been trending on Twitter. This makes it the oldest of the 8th generation consoles, and fans have been clamoring for upgrades for years. The little system has an impressive amount of power for its size, but still trails behind the competition, and fans have hoping to see a newer model announced with a bigger resolution or more processing power. Those fans may have had their hopes answered. Anonymous sources have claimed that Nintendo plans to announce a new Switch model sometime this year. A surprising announcement after Nintendo's president Shuntaro Furukawa just recently claimed to investors that it had no plans to announce a new Switch model. According to the sources, the new Switch models will come with a larger, 7-inch, Samsung OLED display. They also claimed that new model will release this year in time for the holidays, and may even begin production as soon as June. According to Yoshio Tamura, co-founder of Display Supply Chain Consultants, a display consultancy firm, the OLED panel will consume less battery, offer higher contrast and possibly faster response time when compared to the Switch's current liquid crystal display. The anonymous sources claim that Nintendo went for the kind of display that was cheaper, but less flexible, than those on high-end smartphones. They also claimed that the new model will have 4K ultra-high-definition graphics when paired with TVs. They said nothing though about the preliminary support for a dual-screen Switch that was found from data mining the 1.0.0.0 Switch update. This is incredibly exciting for current and future Switch owners, and this rumor will only lead to more speculation for when the Switch Pro will release. It sounds like this new model will allow for noticeably updated visuals and reduced load times compared to the current Switch on the market. An improved battery life would also help enhance one of the Switch's greatest strengths, its portability, allowing players to play for longer away from their homes. Of course, some might argue that a new Switch model is not really necessary right now. While the Switch lags behind the PlayStation 5 and Xbox One S and X in visual fidelity, graphics aren't really what makes the Switch so popular. The real strength of the Switch lies in its portability and its strong library of games that take advantage of its unique hardware. Even if Nintendo were to release a more powerful version of the Switch, chances are, it might not even lead to more impressive games. Of course, for now it's still just a rumor. Since the sources are anonymous, it's impossible to know how accurate they are until Nintendo confirms or denies the rumors. Up next we have another PlayStation news to discuss about. PlayStation Studios' London studio has announced that it is appointing 2 new co-heads of the studio and also revealed some early details on their next game. The studio has appointed Tara Saunders and Stuart White as the co-studio heads, who will now lead the way for the studio in the future. But, tucked away in this blog post, there are some details about London Studios' next project, which will likely release for PS5 and maybe PSVR 2. Towards the end of the Q&A with both Tara and Stuart, Tara throws in this tidbit of information. Our next project has huge potential, and we want to leverage that to the max by empowering the team to thrive and deliver a top-quality game. Granted, this isn't particularly meaty in terms of information, but this is the first we have heard about the project, and it is good to know the studio has high ambitions. Most recently London Studio released PSVR's Blood and Truth, which could suggest they are developing something for PSVR 2. But, with that headset still a while away, we might see their next project on PS5 beforehand. And as our final news describing the next Battlefield game, as Electronic Arts announces a delay for the upcoming Need for Speed game so Criterion Games can assist DICE with Battlefield 6. Criterion has been developing racing games for decades now, and while it may have built its reputation on the Burnout franchise, it is better known for its work on the Need for Speed games in recent years. Criterion has a new Need for Speed game in active development, and while it was originally scheduled to launch in 2021, EA and Criterion have made the decision to delay the game to 2022 so that the studio can assist DICE with development on the new Battlefield that's launching this fall. This was confirmed by EA's Chief Studios Officer Laura Mila, who explained to Polygon why this decision was made. Essentially, EA's acquisition of Codemasters will ensure that the company has a new racing game product to release this year, so it doesn't feel the pressure to rush out a new Need for Speed. With that pressure gone, EA is able to shift Criterion's focus to Battlefield 6, assisting DICE, who has had to deal with working remotely due to COVID-19 restrictions. Mila stressed that this does not mean that Criterion's Need for Speed game is in jeopardy. Fans of the racing game franchise can still look forward to Criterion's new Need for Speed game, they will just have to wait until 2022 to play it. As far as the new Battlefield game goes, very little is known about it in an official capacity. Outside of the fact that it exists, and is aiming for release in fall 2021, EA has kept tight-lipped about the 2021 entry in the long-running first-person shooter franchise. However, recent reports suggest that a Battlefield 2021 reveal could take place as early American Samoa this month, so fans should keep an eye out for more information. While official details on the new Battlefield are scarce, leakers have hinted at what fans can expect. Rumors are swirling that a Battlefield 6 reveal will take place at some point this month, though nothing official has been confirmed by EA or DICE. While no official announcements about the new Battlefield game have been made, fans think that they've potentially discovered the game's setting. As report says, 2 teasers have been found that could potentially point to Battlefield 6's setting. The first teaser is found in a Battlefield tech demo that EA showed in 2020. The video contains numbers that reportedly point to Kazakhstan when translated to GPS coordinates. The other teaser comes in the form of the Battlefield 5 Eidolon skin. If players take a close look at the medallion on the Eidolon skin, they will find Roman numeral numbers that also translate to Kazakhstan GPS coordinates. We already have discussed about the game event's airing dates leak according to an industry insider in the previous video. While this could merely be a coincidence, it does seem to be a good indication that Battlefield 6 could very well be taking place in Kazakhstan. Other details about the game remain completely unknown at this time, though some reputable leakers have potentially spilled the beans about what fans can expect from Battlefield 6. If the leaks are to be believed, Battlefield fans can expect the 2021 game, which may or may not actually be titled Battlefield 6, to take full advantage of next-generation hardware. The PS4 and Xbox One version of Battlefield 6 will reportedly be smaller in scope, whereas Battlefield 6 on PS5 and Xbox Series X will have a significantly higher player count and other next-gen exclusive bells and whistles. One of these next-gen features is improved destructibility. One leaker has hinted that Battlefield 6 lets players destroy entire cities, giving the example of a sniper on top of a skyscraper. At the beginning of the match, snipers will be able to camp on top of skyscrapers, but as the match progresses and more buildings are destroyed, eventually players will have to make their way through the rubble instead. Other rumors suggest that Battlefield 6 is taking inspiration from Battlefield 3 and will have a modern-day setting. Assuming the fan theory about these GPS coordinates is correct, it seems Battlefield 6 will be a present-day game set in Kazakhstan. If the reports about a Battlefield 6 reveal happening in March prove to be accurate, then the speculation can soon be put to rest and fans of the franchise will be able to learn about the highly anticipated next game in the franchise sooner rather than later. Rumormongers have also talked about Battlefield 6 having a massive player count on next-gen consoles, so it will be interesting to see if that's true. Hopefully we get some official details on the new Battlefield game sooner rather than later so the speculation can be put to rest. And that's all for the video, guys. If you are interested in my content, give it a like and share the video. Subscribe to our channel for updates and gameplay, and until then from SMPV, it's goodbye.